Rick, you ready to go?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to ask you to lead us again here. This episode's title is The Meaning of Art in Our Lives.
The meaning of art in our lives. Well, I guess I have two thoughts, and then I want to hear yours. My first thought would be that the art not only gives us an opportunity to see from a different point of view what the artist is seeing, and to interpret that in a way through our own personal experience of that same view. So, if an artist, for example, paints the Mona Lisa, you have views about the Mona Lisa, the color, the light, the beauty of the woman, the mysteriousness of her smile. And you put that in the lens of how you look at your own life and perhaps expand the experience of being yourself by seeing that art. Same thing is true with abstraction. You look at something that's a Jackson Pollock, which has no internal or expressive meaning on the surface, but you can look at those dots and look at those colors and look at those angles and expand your personal experience of whatever the artist was going through instead of simply just blocking it off and saying, I'm not interested. And that art, that lesson in looking at art applies to how we look at life. Every person is an abstraction. Every person is a Mona Lisa. Every person is a work of art as we are ourselves. So every opportunity to meet another person is an opportunity to expand our own personal consciousness. So for me, that's my first thought about art. And then secondly, I think it's a release from the ordinary, a release from the ordinary. And what I mean by that is that when we're caught up in our everyday experiences, we miss 90% of what life offers
No, you're not.
because because we have to focus on getting the problem solved, making the left turn, having the dinner ready, picking up the kids from school, making sure the husband's clothes are back from the cleaners, making sure the wife has enough gas in her SUV. All of that stuff has nothing to do really with this inner development or this inner flourishing, this fountain of the life force. I mean, that is part of the exercise of life, but the rejuvenation of that bubbling up of the life force needs other things. And I think one of those things is art. But you can view art in a lot of different ways, not just looking at paintings in a museum, but looking at everything you see as a work of art to expand your own consciousness. What do you think?
Uh, I, I'm with all of that. One of the things that I did before I started to be consistent in developing my practice, and not just developing it, but also doing it on a regular basis with whatever showed up in life. The way that I viewed art was the way that you mentioned it in the first sentence you said, in terms of what it could be as something, a painting in a museum. And that was a limitation for me because that's the only way that I saw art. And now that I began to work on myself, I all I see around me is art. And I try to be objective and not subjective about what people find value in. I know for me, what I tend to find value in is, does my art make a contribution to others? Is what I'm doing, does it do that? And sometimes, it's not get it's not great brushstrokes, Rick. It's not, you know, but they're still on the canvas, right? They're still on the canvas, and so. But the beautiful thing about it is every time I do my practice, I'm able to expand upon that stroke. It's one of those, the way that I think about it is the I can't think of the guy's name. It would be on, PBS, and he had an afro, and God,
Oh, Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. Exactly. Bob Ross would be painting, and you're like, how in the world is that going to be a picture? And because it looks like an errant or misplaced brushstroke, but it never is.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And what the practice does for me is it allows me, if I stay with it, for the brushstroke that looks like it's askew, that it's misplaced, that the wrong color, the wrong pressure applied to the canvas, or, I have an opportunity with my practice to make it into a beautiful, beautiful offering. And I try to do that. I mean, last night I was on the court with some friends. I had a couple errant brush strokes, and it wasn't the errant brush strokes of I missed a shot. No, it wasn't that. It was how I was showing up on the court, and it was an opportunity for me to correct that. And the way that I did that, I think, was by thanking everybody for their time last night, for the laughs, for the camaraderie, for the connection, being outside, it was just great. The conversation that concluded the night when we were walking off the court. I mean, we were all like in sync, painting that canvas, and all the brush strokes were just fitting. And so, just to close the loop on that, every day if I do my practice, I have an opportunity, just like Bob Ross did for so many decades, to really create some masterpieces. I mean, that are true contributions to humankind. And I hope at the end of my life in this form, that what's left is those misplaced brushstrokes, on the whole, being a contribution to others, being some sort of offering that has brought value to other people. But the only way I can make that true is to continue to work on myself, letting go of my personal self. So, Rick, thank you so much for this topic. This is fantastic.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful expressions, Keith. Beautiful expressions. I'm with you.
Yeah,
Thanks for including me.
thank you. That's Bob Ross.
Yeah. Yeah.